The Ticket's George Dunham with the Musers, of course, 5:30 to 10 a.m. weekdays. We're going to talk about that crazy Rangers-Blue Jays fight here in a moment, but we're coming off Ed's story about Jason Witten and some of Witt's comments today. So let's start with some football. Witten naturally likes the Ezekiel Elliott pick because it'll help that offense, presumably, but he thinks it signals the Cowboys' desire to win now. I wasn't wild about the pick at first. I thought they should have gone defense. The more I think about it, I can see what they're thinking in hopes of getting a really game-breaking running back in there. What do you think?
Well, I thought it was a great pick because I missed the days of DeMarco Murray too, and I think the coaching staff did, and I think there were some scouts that thought the same thing. You bring up Jason Witten. We talk so much about Romo's window. Here's Jason Witten. Yeah. Maybe the greatest tight end this organization's ever had. What's his window? We know it's closing.
So that's all the more reason for him to want to
win. He likes his pick too. I think he likes Ezekiel Elliott a lot too. The thing that's mystifying to me, you take a guy in the second round who can't play next year, and I don't know who's going to play defense for him, and I don't think they have a real good idea of who's going to be in their starting 11 in early September. That's the main concern for this team. I think their offense, though, has a chance to be terrific like it was a couple of years ago.
And you can make the argument that ultimately a really good running back helps your defense.
Sure.
But you do literally need players to play on the defensive side.
At some point you're going to have to stop someone. And I don't know. I didn't see a lot of depth there in the front seven last year, and they certainly haven't helped that this offseason, of any significance anyway.
And Witten did talk today about Tony Romo and his return, how Tony intends to be even better than he was before. At 36, Romo says he's feeling good. He should be good to go for camp, obviously. But the first couple of times he's hit, everybody's going to be thinking the same thing. How likely is it, do you think, that Romo comes back and has a relatively healthy season and kind of returns to the Romo form of 2 years ago?
I think decent because they can rely on this offensive line, and I think Elliott and McFadden and, Dunbar once they get him back. But, boy, I think it does make a difference when you start getting in your late 30s, how it feels when you're dusting yourself off and picking yourself up after hits like that. And he has a history. I'm not too concerned about the collarbones, but I am concerned about the back that could creep up at any moment and give him trouble. Now 16 games, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think, he can play most of the season, have another good season like he did a couple years ago.
Yeah, very few quarterbacks, it seems, actually are totally healthy,
sure,
obviously, for 16 games. He says the back feels better now. I think it's mostly because he hardly played last year. Let's get to the story of the day now. The Rangers-Blue Jays, bad blood from last year's playoffs carries over this year. Matt Bush hits Batista with the pitch. Batista with the hard slide into second on Odor, and then it was on. What did you think as you were watching this unfold today?
It was one of those scream in your living room moments, and I knew something had happened. I didn't know that had happened until we saw the replay. I can understand why Batista was upset about getting plunked, but we can all see how it just goes back to what happened in that crazy Game 5 last year. And talking to some Rangers in the offseason, they said, I think we're going to have some fireworks when we play the Blue Jays. There's no doubt we have a score to settle with them. And man, the way Banister got right in the middle of it, and Odor is going to pay for that. I don't know, 5-6 games, maybe as much as that. Because when's the last time you saw a baseball player land a punch like that?
That's the thing. You wonder if Bautista was thinking, hey, this isn't how it works in baseball. We push each other. We act like we're going to punch each other.
And then,
but you
then
don't
we go back.
land a punch. I'm sure Odor's defense would be that Bautista had his hands up too. And he doesn't know what Bautista's going to do with those hands. But to actually land that punch like that, Odor's going to pay a heavy price. But this becomes iconic right away, doesn't it? I mean, this goes
absolutely.
right up there with Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura in the history of knockout videos for this team.
Well, and especially when you see the replay of it, before Batista can even make a fist, he's getting his chicken kicked right there behind second base. And and I can understand why Odor is furious. That was the epitome of why they made this rule change, to protect legs. That easily could have been broken ankle, ACL, broken leg, had Odor not sidestepped what was a really dirty slide.
And you mentioned Banister, and this guy's quickly becoming really beloved by Ranger fans, not just because he's had success. And, oh, by the way, the Rangers did win the game today, and they're, at or near first place in the division and on a decent little run right now. But Banister's the kind of guy who sticks up for his players.
Oh, yeah.
Fans love that, and I don't think Gibbons probably wanted any part of Banister today.
No, I don't think so. Just like the scene in Houston last year, the same type of deal. And, yeah, fans eat that up and clapping as he's going off into the dugout and trying to get a reaction from the crowd. There's no doubt that Ranger fans love him.
Think you guys are going to spend any time talking about this tomorrow morning?
I imagine so, yeah. That's. I'm not a big wrestling fan. I'm not a big WWE fan, but that was more boxing, I guess, than wrestling. But, yeah, what a moment.
Any chance the fake Rugnet Odor is the 840 guest?
That's not. I'm going to write that down. You have a pen?
It could happen. The Rangers season heating up today. The Stars season came to an end in that bad Game 7 loss to St. Louis the other night. It seems clear from a game like that, everybody says, oh, it's the goaltending, but that had been the word all year long for people who really know hockey. The Stars team has plenty of talent offensively, but in terms of defense and specifically in goal, it's almost like they were winning in spite of the goaltending. Did that just happen to come to a head in that Game 7, do you think? I
think so. I think it's one thing we talked about. Maybe it's not such a bad thing that it happened that way to show them you're still a long way away at goaltender. And I think this team responded to Lindy Ruff. They believed in him and what he said. I certainly bought it. Yeah, maybe you can get by with two goaltenders. You can. Not if your goal is to win the Stanley Cup. I don't think you can. And they're going to have a tough decision and an interesting one on how they go about replacing Lettinen if indeed that is the plan. And I think this team is ready to make a Stanley Cup run. Who knows? They may be the third best team in the NHL this year, but we won't know that because they're not going to get any further.
Yeah, that's Jim Nill, the GM's big challenge, is to try to do something productive in goal during this offseason, as difficult or easy as that might be. What's your take right now? I got in some trouble on Twitter this week because I posted a photo
mean streets, Mike.
of the two-thirds empty American Airlines Center in the third period of that Game 7. My take was, I hear from Stars fans all the time who feel their team is disrespected by the media. How do you allow a building to be that empty during a Game 7? Where do you think the Stars stand right now in terms of fan acceptance, appreciation, and maybe media appreciation?
Yeah, I think they still have to fight for their place. I think they would tell you that. I think they took a big step forward. Daryl Razor Ray said that hockey is back in this town, and I think it is to a large degree to where it was early aughts, late 90s, but that was 98, 99, 2000 of some really great stuff. They're not quite there yet, but I think they gained a lot of maybe the casual fans back this year. But I think one thing that has not changed is there is a core of really passionate Stars fans. There's a debate of how many there are. Maybe that was the ones that were left in the arena the other night.
Well, and I think, don't get me wrong, I love covering the Stars. I think that franchise, it's the most accessible in terms of the players.
Oh, absolutely.
The media relations crew does a great job with the Stars and helping us cover the team, so don't get me wrong there. But anyway, just a thought or two on the fan base for the Stars. Finally, George Dunham, another successful Jub Jam.
Yes,
raising money for the senior source. I believe we may have a clip.
Do we have a
from
clip?
That night at
Can
the
we go to a clip?
Let's go ahead and roll. Thanks for letting me sing again.
Well, thank you for coming out. What are you talking about? You're singing there with Bobby Duncan and Kylie Ray Harris, and you were a big hit with the little Glenn Frey tribute there with Take It Easy. And hey, we raised over 60. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Wrong Eagle song. Peaceful Easy Feeling. But we raised over $60,000 for the Senior Source of Greater Dallas, and you were kind to come out, bring a camera crew, and you also made a donation to the silent auction that we really appreciate. And you can sing, Deuce. We give you a hard time about it, but you're really good.
No, it was a lot of fun. When we hit that harmony, I was clearly out of my league, but
you weren't. You were right there with them. You were right there with them.
With those guys in the background. That was a lot of fun. Congratulations on another successful event.
Thank you. Thanks for being there. Thanks for having me tonight.
George Dunham, Mornings with the Musers on the Ticket.